Now I have to find the reading.
It sounds like a military.
Good morning, everybody.
Packet board. Sorry, I thought I had it open.
Brooke, are you going to be around? If so, can you stop by my office sometime today?
Most certainly.
Thanks.
I am going to be at the church at 10:30, so I'll come after that.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Brian, you could just go blah, 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 blah. Wah, wah, wah.
Sorry, I'm using a different computer and I need to download the.
Do you know what the late of the, oh, I probably got rid of it on my computer.
I can read it if you want.
If you have it there, great. That would be
I
awesome.
got it. I got it. All right. This is Rima Sherry, Vice Chair of the Affordable Housing Trust for Nantucket. It's a preliminary matter. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Brian, my chair, who will be taking over as soon as I read this.
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
I'm here.
Penny Day.
Penny Dice present.
All right, Shanta.
Present.
Okay. And then staff, Ken Bogrand,
Here.
Haley Cook,
Present.
Tucker Holland,
Present.
and we anticipate Town Council Vicky Marsh soon. Let's see. Good
Yeah, she
morning,
has
this
the-
open meeting of the Nantucket Affordable Housing Trust is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting, I'm not sure, I'm looking at the agenda. Are we public commenting today?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on there.
Yes, will include public comment feature. For this meeting, the trust is convening by video conference via the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless someone notes otherwise. The ground rules. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. For items with public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting by Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their name and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. And I am going to turn it back over to our chair, Brian, and acknowledge that Vicky Marsh is present. Right, Mickey, can you hear us?
I am present, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Rima. So the first matter will call the meeting to order. The second matter on the agenda will be, I'll look for a motion for the approval of the agenda as written. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Motion from Brooke, second from Rima. I have, let's see, Gallery. Brooke Moore,
Yes, aye.
Rima Sherry,
aye.
Penny Dye,
I,
Chantal Murphy.
Aye.
Brian Sullivan's and I. Is anybody else on here? Not at the moment. Item number 3, January 17, 2023 meeting comments. So my understanding is that on the public posting, there may have been an issue with a passcode. So we are here to reaffirm some votes. Tucker, is that a correct statement, or Tucker, Vicky?
Yeah, we learned after the fact that the agenda that had been published for the January 17th meeting, in fact, had an error in the passcode. So folks from the general public who might have been trying to attend could not with an incorrect passcode. There were a few folks who wanted to get on the meeting, had reached out directly to either Haley or myself at one point, and were able to access the meeting. We've not heard from anyone else, who said, golly, I wanted to be there to comment on this matter or that matter. However, because of the incorrect passcode, today want to reaffirm 2 items on the agenda, both the approval of the minutes and the approval of the funding for the 7-letter arrangement, and obviously allow today, those are on the agenda, allow for any comment from the public that folks may have on that as well. It is included on the agenda a link to the video of the meeting from the 17th. So while there were other matters that were not voted on, there was discussion. And so anyone who is interested to hear that discussion certainly is welcome to watch that and to come and comment at today's or a future trust meeting. Vicky, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you've summarized everything perfectly. And, we have to do this in light of, obviously compliance with open meeting law requirements to make sure that the public has access to the meetings. So since the only 2 actions that were actually taken as far as votes, we would just ask you to reaffirm your votes on those 2 matters.
Great. Thank you, Tucker. Thank you, Vicky. Brooke?
I'd be happy to make motion. Vicky, should we do separate motions, one for each item?
Yes, please do.
Okay, and then I would ask maybe, Brian, if we see if anyone in the public wants to comment on those subjects before I make a motion.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll take them one at a time, the minutes. Any members of the public have comment on the approval of the minutes from 11:15, 11 or 12:20, 12:29, or 1:11? Seeing no action on the screen, Brooke, you want to make a motion?
I'd move approval for those minutes, or to reaffirm our vote to approve those minutes.
Thank you, Brooke. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Penny by roll call. Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Rima Sherry,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
I,
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. The next item on the I'll go in order of the agenda. So the next item on the agenda is public comment. Do any members of the public have comment on anything?
Wait,
Well,
Go ahead.
we need to
Vicky.
reaffirm the other vote.
right.
No, but it's not in order on the agenda. We approved the agenda in this order.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, I just want to, let me come. Okay, so no public comment on any other general topics. So we'll close public comment. Now I'll come to the 7-letter contract confirming or reaffirming the vote from the 117 meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved motion from Brooke. Is there a second?
Second,
Second from Rima. Any conversation or comment? Seeing none, vote by roll call. Brooke Moore.
Aye.
Oh wait, Tucker, do you have a comment before we vote?
Well, I mean, this is just a side comment, but I thought I should mention relative to our opportunity to talk yesterday on Fox News about our work and the project at Surf, the independent project at Surfside Crossing. It was Jeremy Crockford from Seven Letter who actually came and met with me and let's say did some prep before the interview. So they were very helpful. I just wanted to point that out.
Great. Thank you, Tucker. Haley?
Yes, just a quick question on the minutes. The last set of minutes from 1/11/23 was new.
Haley, before you open that, can you wait? Because we have an open.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
No problem. I'll come back to that. So we have a motion and a second to reaffirm the votes on the 7-letter contract. We're ready to vote if there's no comments from board members. Okay, seeing none, vote by roll call. Rima Sherry,
Aye.
Penny Dye.
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Okay, we'll close that item. Haley, did you have a comment about the minutes?
Yes, just that the one set of minutes, the one from January 11th, 2023, that wouldn't be a reaffirm, that would be a new vote because that's a new set of minutes. Is there anything we need to do to change the motion, or is that fine as is?
I'm going to refer to Vicky on that. I think you're muted, Vicky.
Yeah,
We actually didn't vote on the 111 in the last meeting, but I did just list the date in the reaffirmation. So those minutes either need to kick to the next meeting for an actual vote, I think is what Haley's saying, or I think that's probably the easiest way to.
right. I agree. Yes,
Okay, that's what I'll do. Thank you.
Yeah, carry the 111 to the next meeting and we'll vote on those next time.
right.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we are on to the RFP for 135, 137 Orange Street. Vicky, thank you for the work and putting this together and getting it to us. Before we get into our comments, Tucker, was there anything from town administration or the finance committee that changed the way that we're looking at these documents?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honestly, I think that the town manager and finance director have had a lot on their plate this last week, and they probably have not had an opportunity to go through it. It would be the natural course anyway, after we had reviewed these, for finance and procurement to really make whatever changes are appropriate in order to issue the RFPs. So I don't have anything to share today, but I would expect some comments.
So any motion will be subject to their continued
Yes.
approval. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So I'll open up to the board for discussion. So my one question or comment is, with the empty spots that identify timelines, 135, 137 is a massive project. And so just so that I understand what the expectation we're setting for timelines is, since they weren't filled in, can we have some understanding of that?
I can comment that, so that is something that the finance director, chief procurement officer had said, they ultimately will determine the timeline there. I would expect, just as you said, Mr. Chair, given the comprehensive nature of the proposal really we're seeking, it would be a matter of months in order for someone to respond. And we want included in there, as you saw, the opportunity to host a site visit, much as we did with the Six Fairgrounds project, for people to actually come, be able to ask questions. As we did with Six Fairgrounds, we would assemble a panel of folks like Andrew Vorse, Mark Willett, David Gray, and others, who could answer questions that folks may have relative to zoning, sewer, water, et cetera. So while I don't know the specific dates, the idea would be to allow ample time for someone to respond.
So if I may, there's kind of two stages in response. There's, hey, I'm interested. Put me on the list, include me in all this informational aspects, and there's a deadline for that. And then the second deadline will be for the comprehensive packet as you're describing.
Yeah, and that first deadline is, if I'm recalling from the prior RFPs that we've done, that's generally put fairly close to the actual final deadline, just to be able to allow people to enter as late in the process and effect as they want, with trying to ensure that they do not miss any important and relevant information that might be issued along the way. And as you can see in the RFP, there is an acknowledgement that must be submitted with a proposal that they they're aware of and have received all amendments to the RFP.
Great, thank you. That was the extent of my personal questions. Vicky?
So just as a suggestion, perhaps, since, the procurement officer is the one that really is going to set the deadlines, you may want to, just have an idea as to suggesting to him what you think you would like to see as far as dates, just so that he may have, a guideline and understand how, this is a little larger project than maybe the others. So.
Brooke? Thank you, Vicky. Brooke?
I agree, because I'm very hopeful that some local folks might enter into this and need to secure expertise from other agencies or organizations that have done similar projects here or elsewhere. And so giving people plenty of time. And I would say maybe what we should do is sort of set a goal of an end date for completion of the process, and then leave the procurement officer some time to work backwards in the timeline, leaving, as you indicated, enough time for applicants to really learn, inquire, and put together good proposals for us.
Tucker? Thank you, Brooke.
I mean, what we could do, if it made sense to folks, is simply to provide the procurement officer with the timeline associated with the Six Fairgrounds RFP, which had application ultimately from both on island and off island applicants. We didn't receive any comments from proposers that they felt under the gun on time or that sort of thing, but it also was teed up where we want to move this forward as soon as is practical. So that might be a starting place.
What was that timeline? Do you remember? Or?
I will look it up while we're talking here.
Okay, thank you. Penny, Rima, or Shanta, any comments?
Yeah, I have a general comment, which is the faster this moves along, the more reliable I think the pricing is going to be on it. Just general.
In reviewing it last night and kind of comprehending the scope of it, I don't see this being accomplished well within a 6-month window. We're probably, I would expect we're probably looking towards the end of September to be somewhat realistic in the number of professionals that need to be involved in the required documents in the RFP. Penny?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we should still try.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
I'm just trying to get an idea of what's realistic, because this is a big scope of work. So while Tucker looks at that date, any other particulars that anyone read or saw in the documents that they want to ask Vicky about, talk about? Go ahead, Brooke.
I'd love, it was asked last night at the select board meeting about the municipal employee preference. And I would love an explanation about how that works in conjunction with local preference, if Vicky or Tucker can help me out with that.
I had it up. Let me find the page. 1 second.
It's on page 4.
I have too many windows open on a small computer. Just 1 second, I'm almost there.
So the town recommends that 70% of all affordable units be rented pursuant to the local preference, which shall include current town residents, employees of local businesses and nonprofits located in the town, households whose children attend town schools, and municipal employees. So it's not, and then it says 25% of the affordable units and 10% of the market rate units be rented pursuant to a municipal employee preference, provided it is approved by DHCD. So there's both a local preference and a municipal preference, and I just didn't understand how they intersect.
Go ahead, Vicky.
So the local preference is actually, there are actually provisions that it can't be more than 70%. So that's how we arrive at that. That is really governed by DHCD. And it is up to DHCD to actually approve of it. You have to show evidence of why you should be eligible to have a local preference for the residents. So that's already in their guidelines. So the municipal employee preference was something that was proposed for this project as 25% for the affordables and 10% of the market rate. And again, I've added the caveat that that needs to be approved by DHCD. That's something that's not necessarily mandated, and it may or may not, be approved by DHCD, but it's certainly worth including that if you feel that those levels are meet your what you're looking for.
Great, thank you, Vicky.
Mhm.
Brooke, does that kind of address the concern?
Yeah, yes, I think it's really, it sounds to me like we have to demonstrate that there is a need for both local preference and municipal employee preference, and clearly we have no problem proving that.
And our attempt and request is to the maximum that is potentially allowable. So, Tucker?
Yeah, I mean, I just was going to mention that I had met with DHCD in December in advance, or I'm sorry, just shortly following our submission for certification, and talked to them about this topic specifically. And just as Attorney Marsh was saying, even though we're talking in part about units that would not necessarily fall under DHCD's purview relative to the 80% and less level, because the whole project will count on the SHI list, they have an interest in what we do. And they really, they want to know the details of, how many units, what is the makeup of the town employees demographically and so forth. So as Attorney Marsh said, we need to make a case in order to do that, and then they will make a determination.
Great, thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Tucker. Thank you, Vicky. You have a different topic, Tucker?
I have the dates for you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So with the Six Fairgrounds proposal, it actually was a relatively aggressive timeline. It was issued on the 2nd of February in 2017, and final proposals were due April 26th. So about 3 months later. As I am recalling, we might have ended up extending that maybe 30 days, not so much due to request from proposers, but we did have some amendments to the RFP during the process, and we just wanted to be sure to give ample time. So a 4-month window is not necessarily unreasonable. And scale-wise, obviously, Six Fairgrounds was 64 units relative to something about half that size we're talking about here.
Brooke?
I'm really comfortable with this as it is, and I think we should look at we're at the last week of January, so maybe an issue date toward the end of February with build in those extra 30 days. So that would take us to June.
And May.
And
Yeah.
with so mid-June as a response deadline. And if we're finding that applicants are struggling or there's a lot of questions or we make amendments, we always have the right to extend that. But I'd like to have a reasonable but aggressive timeline on this, so we keep the ball moving forward. And I would say the same is going to hold for all the others as well.
Great, so I think that we're making that as a statement recommendation to procurement, not as a part of our vote, but okay, so I think we've covered timeline pretty well. Does anybody else have any comments on that? No, I'm generally in agreement with keeping the pressure on. Is there anything else about the document before we take a vote that anybody wants to address? So I'll look for a motion on the
Can I
one.
just ask one
Oh,
question?
okay.
I'm sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead, Vicky.
I had put in a comment. I didn't know, was the 2021 housing
Yes.
production plan
Yes,
the most recent? Okay,
I was gonna say, Vicky had a couple of questions in there. I think we need to
yeah,
answer.
I just
Oh,
want to
yeah.
make sure. Let me just go through these. Oh, the lease payment. Okay, so the initial lease payment. It was put in as $100,000 when we had these, initial discussions. I went back and looked, and of course, Six Fairgrounds, the initial lease payment for that project was $64,000. It was based on $1,000 per unit that was going to be constructed. So do you want to maintain this $100,000, or do you want to do something similar to what was done for Six Fairgrounds?
Tucker?
So, I mean, I think this is a little bit of, taking from Peter to give to Paul sort of a thing. I mean, this is different to Six Fairgrounds because of the size of this project. And I think because of the income mix we want to have in it. I think we're anticipating that developer is going to be seeking some financial support in conjunction with their proposal for this. So I think we just need to bear that in mind in terms of the fee that we might want to assess.
Thank you, Tucker. Any board members' thoughts? Brooke, was that okay, there you go. That's kind of a half-hearted in.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know how many units. There's a range of units that are maybe it's $1,000 per unit up to what we anticipate the maximum allowed on the property is. Tucker, do we know what that is under current zoning?
32.
Yeah, 32 is the max. I mean, I would not tie the fee to unit count. I mean, that's just how we did it with Six Fairgrounds, and it really was intended to, in effect, cover all legal costs associated with moving forward with that project, separate and apart from the lawsuit, which Paul Keen pays for separately. So, I mean, I personally think the $100,000 number is fine, but I would, whatever you decide, I would not tie it to the unit count.
My general opinion is, in the size and scale and scope of a project like this, it's not really a lot of money to secure the project. So my personal opinion is I don't think the difference on this scale between 32,000 and 100 is going to put too many people out of not doing the project. Because by the time we sign the lease, I would assume financing is in place, subsidies are in place. We're further along. It really becomes the timing commitment of when we want to execute the lease and receive the first payment. And I guess that's a question that's not clear to me, Vicky, in the document. So, like, I guess in the ramp up time, in the example of Six Fairgrounds, would they have they made their lease payment and they're carrying it currently through all of the court and appeals, or once they're fully permitted, then they'll make the lease payment and start construction?
Right, when you actually would execute the ground lease, so.
Yeah.
The ground lease is not executed yet for Six Fairgrounds. We do have a land development agreement in place. But we do not have a ground lease because they're not prepared to commence construction.
Right.
And that could include site work and things like that.
So I think to Tucker's point, by the time we get to that phase, there's an opportunity to pay whatever the expression was, pay Peter, Paul, move the money around. Rima?
So essentially, this is like a good faith payment to ensure that we can pay our expenses and that they are financially feasible for the project, basically.
Committed. Yeah.
Committed. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Penny, did you have something? No motion. Okay. Vicky, more questions?
Let me just go through, make sure I have all of them. That was it on this one. Yeah, that was it for that one.
To the group, I'll pose a motion or look for a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the RFP for 135 and 137 Orange Street, subject to final comments from town manager, finance director, and town council.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Rima, a vote by roll call. Rima Sherry,
Aye.
Penny Guy,
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. All right, that's great. First one out the door. Congratulations, team. Okay, so we'll move over. Go ahead, Penny.
Congratulations, team, and thank you to Vicky.
Yes.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. The only regret I had is that it took us a little longer than we had hoped. So, but
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Let's see. Next one listed is 7 Amelia Drive. So we'll open 7 Amelia Drive for questions from board or comments. Seeing, oh, go ahead, Brooke.
So my only concern is that we still don't have a certified plot plan for this property. And I worry about issuing the RFP until we do. So I would be prepared to move approval of this subject, the timeline subject to the receipt of a certified plot plan to include in the packet.
Okay.
And subject to final comments by town manager, finance department, and town council.
Brooke, did you start with? Go ahead, Tucker.
I'm sorry, I just, is it certified plot plan? Or like as built, Waite Drive as built? I mean, I just want to make sure we have the right reference there.
Okay.
It would be a plot plan certified by an engineer.
So,
Go ahead, Vicky.
so I have talked to Andrew Vorse on many occasions for him to urge the surveyor to complete the plan. And it will be, I don't think it's just a plot plan. I think it's going to have more than that, but I will confirm that. But definitely there will be a plan that is actually legible, that will show this lot with the setbacks, the roadway, et cetera. So with boundaries.
So do we want to just say, just for the purposes of the motion, when it comes, that it, a plan acceptable to town council or something of that nature?
And certified by a land surveyor.
Okay.
Can we just refer to it as a survey?
Sure, yes,
Thanks.
a registered survey, okay.
So Brooke, I'm going to come back to you because I'm not sure if you started your statement with I'm making a motion to do this. Was that a motion or those are just your thoughts?
Let me restate. I move that we approve this RFP subject to final comments from town manager, finance director, and town council and subject to the inclusion of a stamped
Survey.
survey with the application timeline to be determined based on that.
Okay, is there a second on Brooke's motion?
A second.
Second from Rima, discussion? Question, comments? Seeing none, take a vote by roll call. Rima Sherry,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Brooke Moore.
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Great. All right, 2 out of 3. Let's jump to 12 and 12R Bartlett Road. Open up for questions, comments as written. So I have a couple of questions as I read through it. This one and 135 Orange Street described no less than 3 buildings. And I don't know on a 2-lot scenario like this one, if we want to dictate that much. Would we consider doing, 1 building each lot and reducing the 3 to 2? Obviously, HDC is going to weigh in on this, but to have the widest scope of opportunity, do we want to consider that? Is one comment. And then my other is, this RFP didn't list a maximum number of bedrooms or units as the other did. And do we want to include those as well? And I don't know what they are, so I can't comment. I haven't done, I don't have a planning board study on it. Other than that, I think it read very similar to the others, so I don't have any other comments. I think I'm directing to, I guess, both Vicky and Tucker there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering who you wanted to comment.
Sorry. Well, I guess the 3 building is a board question, and then the bedroom count and unit count is to you, Tucker. I guess the planning board through you or.
Well, so maybe I'll take the liberty of commenting on both, but I like your suggestion with regard to the number of buildings, that to give some optionality personally. Regarding the maximum number of bedrooms and units, I believe the maximum number is 12 for the site, but we can easily confirm the number and include it if the board would like to.
Okay. Any board have any questions or comments? Brooke?
I'm comfortable with allowing more flexibility on the number of buildings, and I guess the inclusion of a maximum number of units confirms that we intend this project to conform with current zoning and not bring in alternatives like a friendly 40B or with more unit count, and just confirming. I'm fine with that. That has been our intention all along, but I just want to make sure by including a max unit count, we are confirming that's our policy. And I just would ask the question, if doing a friendly 40B added 1 more unit and made a project more financially viable, do we want to leave that open as an option? I don't know.
It's funny you say that, because I wasn't thinking that way, but I think that that's an excellent, perception on it, right? Maybe we do want to leave it open because somebody may come in with a great design. I don't know, but we have stated before that we want to stay to local zoning. So, go ahead, Brooke, and then to you, Tucker.
So could we add another evaluation criteria that said something along the lines of staying within local zoning is highly desirable, and leave the option open? Because somebody might come forward with something amazing that has 1 or 2 extra units that would be acceptable to the community by great design or something like that. So I'm kind of thinking maybe this might be an opportunity to test out whether somebody might get super creative and come up with something really beneficial.
If somebody was able to make two 50% units that we weren't thinking of, that would be pretty incredible. So,
Yeah.
Penny?
Additionally, friendly 40B done well, that people can understand and see and visualize and live in, will go a long way, I think, towards educating the community on how that can be done positively.
Rima, I think you had a comment?
I didn't, but I do agree with Penny. And, you know, we do have Sachems as a very good example of a friendly 40B that we should always be cheering for publicly.
Tucker?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of, you know, keeping that option there, as Penny and Rima have said. I also like Brooke's inclusion of a evaluation criteria where you do score at the highest level if you are doing it within local zoning. I do think that underscores our consistent statement that, you know, the projects that we are driving are within local zoning. Now, we can leave the option open, and a great design, like Brooke said, of a friendly 40B may win over people. But I feel we want to be consistent in our messaging with the public.
Brooke?
I think this is a really good way to test the waters a little bit by doing the combination of leaving the unit count open and adding that evaluative criteria that we're prioritizing local zoning, but we're open to other options.
Tucker, before I come to you, Vicky?
So when we establish that by making a proposal and keeping with local zoning is highly advantageous, so then we have the other two criterias, which are advantageous and not advantageous. And so I guess I would say that not advantageous would be obviously a 40B project, which requires, you know, which would be defined as a 40B project.
Yep.
And then the middle ground would be a friendly 40B project with acceptable levels of zoning to the town or something like that.
Intensity.
And the density, right. So my concern is that how you would do the other criteria?
Tucker, I'll come to you and then to you, Brooke.
Well, so what we could do is let's just say that 12 is the maximum number of units under local zoning for the site, you know, which we would confirm. But so we could do in the highly advantageous of under local zoning, we can include with up to 12 units. Perhaps in the advantageous, we would say up to some number like 14 as a 40B, and then disadvantageous would be above 14 or some number 40B. The point I originally raised my hand about was, I'm just wondering for the board, do we want to apply the same principle to these other RFPs as well?
I don't think so, but personally, based on the sites, the 32 unit maximum on Orange Street is pretty significant, is my personal opinion. And we put up to 3 units on Amelia Drive, and that's a very, very small site. So I think that's going to be a challenge for anybody on an engineering aspect.
I just wanted to ask the question. Yep.
Yeah, that's my personal opinion. I see some affirmative head shaking, thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. So on this one, Vicky, how do we move this forward today with making that amendment as it's written?
We could vote to accept this RFP, subject to the inclusion of the additional terms that you have approved today, and subject to the
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Any more discussion or any other items in the RFP we want to discuss? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make the motion that Vicky just so eloquently said.
Great,
And I will eloquently second it.
excellent. So we have a motion from Penny, as stated by Vicky, seconded by Brooke. By roll call, Rima Sherry,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. All right, we're cooking. Review proposed meeting schedule for 2023 meetings. I apologize, I don't have it in front of me. Does anybody have any issue with what they want to see? Any comment, any talk? Rima?
Did we want to change the April 19th because it was during school break? That was brought up at the last meeting.
Penny?
Yeah, I think I let Haley know. Was it March
Yes.
20? I can't come March 29th.
Yes.
Hmm.
I got a couple from Penny, but that's the only one I heard from in terms of,
Or the one
Meetings.
2 days before Thanksgiving.
Haley, do you want to screen share the
That would be
list
helpful. Yeah.
so people can?
yes. hold
Brooke, while
on.
she's pulling that up, did you have a comment?
No, I mean, I think what we're talking about is continuing with our regular meeting on the third week of the month and extra meetings on the first, which is first Tuesday of the month. I'm wondering if there's any chance we can move to 1 o'clock, or is that still a Zoom scheduling problem? I have another meeting that meets from noon to 1 that I've been missing for months that I would love to be able to attend. Can,
I don't believe that there's a Zoom scheduling issue. This was just the time that the trust members had originally arrived at. So I think Erica typically blocks out like 3 hours for us. So
Yeah, I mean, I have the ability to schedule it as long as there aren't other meetings, and I give Erica a heads up. So there are 3 accounts, so I can ask her if a 1 o'clock block with a couple hours would work. And then, I'm sorry, through the chair to the trust, I can try to arrange that if everyone agrees that 1 o'clock is good.
Yeah, personally, I can make 1 o'clock work versus 12:30. I don't see anybody saying no, so why don't we try and make that effort?
Got
Yeah.
it. So I can move this one if that sounds preferable to folks, and I can also move the one that was a couple days before Thanksgiving, if that's helpful.
I would say, I think that makes sense on both
Okay.
of them. Penny?
Yeah, just 1 o'clock is not good for me because it pushes this, it pretty much takes the whole afternoon. It makes it difficult for me, but I will try it.
I will endeavor to make the meetings faster, Penny.
yeah, I was
Go
gonna-
ahead, Doctor.
Mr. Chair, I was just going to say, I mean, and maybe with meeting, twice a month, the meetings would be shorter. So
Okay,
thank you, Penny.
all right, with that, I don't know that we need to vote on this. I think that if we can put the schedule out for the public, knowing that there'll be individual meetings here and there that members won't be able to make.
And I'll also say Meg and I both want to attend this other meeting that we're missing, so she might put that in.
All right, great, there's my screen back. So we'll move to other business. Is there any new other business that anybody has to bring up that wasn't ready for the time of publishing? Tucker, I saw you raise your hand.
yeah, Mr. Chair, I think we have a couple here that Haley can talk about, a closing cost assistance application that we received, I think, last Friday. Haley, do you want to give some background and then we can let the couple speak?
Yeah, so Margaret McGovern is here. Thank you for coming today. Her and Nate Leibowitz reached out to us this past Friday. They've been working really hard to get a affordable home on the island. They have a closing coming up. And unfortunately, whoever they worked with in terms of the bank, the information they had received was that the AHT loan was kind of like automatic, and they weren't aware of this process of this big application they had to put in that we usually ask 8 weeks in advance to closing because of the meeting schedules and the posting and all of these different things. And so Tucker proposed the idea of coming before you guys today to potentially discuss meeting another time before their closing, for this being the only item on the agenda. You know, be a quick 5-minute meeting so that these folks can access this loan so that they can get this home. And if Tucker, if there's anything missing, let me know. I do have a complete application, all materials on my desk. Nothing is missing. They've done everything with Housing Nantucket in terms of the homeowners class. And I've worked with Anne. So the only thing left is the vote. And I don't know if Margaret wanted to mention anything at all. You're welcome to, Margaret, if you'd like to, or you can just listen in, up to you.
Thank you, Haley.
Mhm.
Thanks, Margaret, Nate.
Hi, guys.
Oh, there's Nate.
Just want to say thank you for allowing us to come to this meeting, and we do apologize for not being, I mean, I wish we were a little bit more informed, but also we apologize for just trying to get this so rushed and on a deadline, but
Exactly. I mean, this is just the 15K would be huge for us in making this happen. And it's my mom also has a closing on the 13th in Maine that's contingent on the sale of her house. And we've just worked really hard and didn't realize that, you know, the whole 8-week process, we needed the application. And we kind of found that out at our covenant meeting and just started scrambling and tried to get it in time, but didn't get it into the agenda for this meeting. So we'd really, really appreciate it if any of you could meet at some point before they're closing on February 10th.
Okay, great. Any board comments or questions for these guys while they're here? See, Tucker, I'll come to you.
Yeah, just to add, so there is a warrant, Haley, if,
Mhm.
correct me if this is not right, but on February 8th, I believe.
That's correct.
That is the next warrant, you know, where the monies could be paid out following the select board approval at the Wednesday night meeting. And that would meet their timeline. So I think we're really just trying to see if there are a quorum of trust members who would be willing to get together for a short meeting in the coming days. It's got to be 48 hours or more from now, obviously. But as Haley said, the application is complete, so we think this will be a relatively straightforward matter.
Great. I'm happy to meet anytime. I've got thumbs up from Brooke and Rima. Penny?
No, I was going to say, so it has to be 48 hours because of the notice requirement.
Yeah.
We can't just continue this meeting. Well, let's just pick a date and let's schedule it right now.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
This is, you know,
Yeah, no worries. No.
If it's Monday and somebody else can do the reading and opening, I can make that work, but I'm traveling on Monday. I'll be on the 1 o'clock ferry, but I can do it for somebody else to do the reading.
Yeah, I can do it, or Rima could do it Monday.
Haley, Tucker, does that work for you guys?
Mr. Chair, just as like a practical matter, so it would have to be after 2 p.m. On Monday. 4 o'clock on Monday is a possibility if that worked for people.
I can make 4 work.
Me too.
Yeah, not great, but
I mean, alternatively, we could do, as an example, Wednesday morning. I mean, any day next week really is fine up until like Thursday.
I'm out of pocket Wednesday and Thursday. I really think we should just do it sooner. Rima, is there better, through Brian to you, is
Tuesday.
there a better time?
it's usually when I'm out in the field, you know, cleaning up and feeding the horses, but I'll just do it early. So yeah, fine. I can do 4.
So 4 o'clock Monday.
Great, let's post that meeting. Shanta?
how many of, I'd like to help as well. Unfortunately, I have a funeral on Monday and another one on Wednesday. So I'm going to be completely
I'm not going to be available on those days. So I don't know if you guys have enough for a quorum.
We need 4. We can look to Dave and Meg, who aren't here as well, see if we can get them to make it. So we'll reach out. Knowing that you won't be able to make it, we'll reach out to the other members in hopes that they can.
Okay,
We've-
awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we need 4.
We have 4.
Haley,
Did Brooke indicate that she could make it at 4?
she did.
Okay, so I think we have Brian, Rima, Penny, and Brooke. So
Yep.
we have 4. Okay. So we have a quorum.
Great.
I'll send that out.
Awesome.
Uh,
Brooke,
If I might ask that the applicants let our office know what bank they were working with, so we can make sure we get the correct information to them.
Yes, I have it, and I will ensure that the people that they spoke with hear from me directly so that they have the information. Thank you, Brooke.
all right, guys, we'll see you next week.
appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you, you as well.
Looking to item 12, board comments. Brooke,
In case any of you didn't make it to the select board meeting last night, I'd like to tell everyone that the select board has adopted the warrant, including an article for a 6.5 million permanent override, tax override to fund affordable housing with a corresponding ballot question. It will go to FinCom for the final motion. And there was a lively discussion. I encourage everyone to go back and watch our meeting last night. It was toward the very end. And I just want to make a note again, as I did last night, 5 or 6 years has seen a sea change in the conversation around funding for affordable housing on Nantucket. And I want to applaud everyone here for your efforts all through this time that we've been working together to really change the conversation in the community and build a consistent understanding that housing is where we need to be focusing at the select board level strategically. And I'd also like to say that at the Mass Municipal Association, I was able to hear speeches from the governor and the lieutenant governor, actually twice. And the second speech from the lieutenant governor, she spent half of her speech talking about housing. And I was able to ask her a question during Q&A about support for the transfer fee. And she reiterated the governor's commitment to supporting local options for funding for affordable housing. While I wanted her to say they were going to push our housing bank bill through, I am delighted that we have an administration that is talking about this in the media all the time and in the public, and that it's a priority for them. So we've come a long way, everybody. And I think the RFPs today really show our community that we're on the right track and that we have a lot of tools in our toolbox and we need more funding. And I hope
My comment is having sat through the entire thing last night, what I was really pleased with was the support from all of the who were present last night. Matt wasn't there, but the other 3, along with Brooke, were very much supportive of it. And that's a significant change, including Malcolm, who had some questions, who came around to indicate their support for this. So I think that, as Brooke said, we've done it as a group. We've done a really good job over the last couple of years, and people are listening, and importantly, people are starting to understand.
thank you, Ken. Thank you, Brooke. It is exciting that we, like, the RFPs that just went out are potentially 50 households collectively. That's pretty awesome. Any other board comments? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
A second from Penny. Roll call. Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Rima Sherry,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Jason, you just missed us. We just finished.
Watch us on rewind.
Yep. All of you have questions.
I was hoping to catch the end, but I'll follow up. All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.